If you're considering or ready to take that next step toward becoming a new insurance adjuster, you're probably wondering, where do I start? According to data from various sources, around 60% of Americans who want to advance their careers are hindered by concerns about time, while 62% cite financial barriers as a reason preventing them from gaining new skills and making that career change. Now, in this video, you're going to learn the first step in becoming a licensed adjuster, which is a career that allows both flexibility and the ability to earn six figures. We're going to take a deep dive into the Department of Insurance to see the actual state requirements needed to apply for your license. Now, as a licensed adjuster myself, I've obviously gone through this process and had no issues applying for and obtaining my home state license, and I can certainly help you do the same. I'm Stacy with AdjusterlYfe, a channel that's dedicated to those who are interested in getting their insurance adjuster license and growing in the field of insurance adjusting. So, if you are new here and you like what you hear, please consider liking and subscribing, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, so right now what I'm going to do is take you through a walkthrough for the Texas Department of Insurance's website. But no worries if you don't live in Texas or aren't interested in getting a Texas designated home state license, which I'm going to get into later in this video. This on-site demonstration is just pretty much to get you familiar with what to look for when you visit the website for the state that you actually reside in or choose to get licensed in. All right, so what I did was a Google search for the Texas Department of Insurance, and it immediately came up. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the link. All right. So immediately when I land on the home page for the state's Department of Insurance, it gives me an option for adjusters, which is really nice. It's right there in your face. But if the state that you're applying through does not have this option right away, they should have a search bar that you can click on and do a search for what you're looking for. So my computer is giving me problems this morning. All right, so you can just simply click adjuster licensing and you see different options pop up. You can just, put in apply for adjuster licensing, just, something that will help you pull up what you're looking for rather quickly. But in this case, it gives us an option right away. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And then if I scroll down just a little bit, you can see it has a section here that talks about applying for your adjuster license. And so that's what you're going to be looking for, and it tells you what to do to get started. But before we select a license type like it states, what you want to do and what I would suggest doing is to go to the FAQ page, which is very, very helpful, especially since you are new to applying. It's going to answer any questions that you have pertaining to applying for the license. So in this case, as you can see, it gives you information on how to apply for the license, how long the application process takes, what you need to do to avoid any delays in processing your application, and even has a link here for tips on successful application processing. And then it discusses, what to do if there's any missing information and how to submit any missing information on your application. So the FAQ section is really nice. Whatever state you're applying through should have that. So you definitely want to stop there first. Now I'm going to go ahead and get back to that adjuster licensing page. And then I'm going to do what it states here. To get started, simply select a license type below.
And to the far left, it has the different adjuster licensing types. So for Texas, they offer an all lines adjuster license, a designated home state license, a catastrophe emergency license, property and casualty, and so forth. Now, an all lines license simply means that you can handle claims across all types of insurance lines, whether that's residential, commercial, auto, or workers' compensation. And pretty much it allows you to handle any kind of insurance claim and is considered the most comprehensive adjuster license available in many states. Now, the difference between all lines and property and casualty, otherwise known as P&C, P&C licenses do not allow you to handle workers' comp claims, but all the other lines that the all lines adjuster licenses does. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, one thing I do want to mention, if the state that you're applying through does offer an all lines adjuster license, my recommendation for you would be to apply for that because it opens the door for you to be able to adjust different types of claims and the ability to work in different roles in this field. So you don't want to narrow your choices, you want to widen your choices. And so that's what the online license does. So it gives you the opportunity to get a feel for the different areas that you may want to work in and venture off into. So I'm just going to go ahead and click into the online section. All right, once on this page, I'm going to scroll down. And as you can see over here to the far right, it gives you the 3 steps needed to submit your application. So you obviously are going to take an exam. And then step 2, you're going to begin the application process. And this particular state is requesting you to do fingerprinting. Not all states do. And then step 3, you're going to obviously apply for the license. So it appears that the exam administrator for Texas is Pearson VUE, and they even supply a link to the Pearson VUE website. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, see where that takes us. And it takes you directly to the Pearson VUE webpage. And they even have their own FAQ section. Always start with the FAQ section. You can't go wrong there getting questions answered that you may have. You can find a testing center near you, even view exams. When you click on the view exam section, though, you're going to have to create, I'm just going to click there so you can see, you're going to have to create an account. You choose the exam that you're looking for. It has some testing policies there. And then if you click next, you'll see that you'll have to create an account. So I don't know if it allows you to see the actual exam that you'll be taking so that you can kind of study the questions. I'm not quite sure, but it is available. It is an option. So I'm just going to go back to the Pearson VUE website. Now, any state that you're applying through should have the licensing administrator available. If not, then you can certainly contact that department, that state's department, and find out if they can provide that information to you. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. They have their customer service link. Also, they have a candidate handbook. So I'm going to click on that so you can kind of see what that looks like. All right, so we have the candidate handbook here. It looks like it was last updated in October 2024. When I scroll down, it gives additional information. You know, it talks about the exam information, fingerprinting information, once again, licensing information. It goes into scheduling, the schedules and fees, reservations, what to expect on exam day. And then there's also a clickable table of contents, which is really nice. So you don't have to scroll through each page to find what you need. It's right here. And then if you click on it, it'll take you immediately to where you want to go. So I'm just going to click on how to prepare for the exam. And you see, it took me immediately to that section. So that's really a nice, quick way to access what you're looking for when on the administrator's website. All right. So I'm going to go back to the um, Texas Department of Insurance main page here. And then step 2 of the application process is to begin that process by doing the fingerprint background check. So this particular state, you do have to complete that. They have their own fingerprint portal that you have to access. And also for the background check, it looks like you'll be going through a company called Indentigo, and there are special requirements that they have in place as part of the application process that you must adhere to. And then it also gives you a link on learning what those requirements are and instructions from there. So definitely make sure you are following each step in order, whichever state license you are applying for. So the last part of this is to obviously apply. And for this particular state, well, for any state, I'm sure you need to pass the exam, but if you submit the application before passing the exam, you are going to be required to submit a new application and pay the application fee again. So you definitely want to apply after you know that you've passed, okay? And then you're able to apply online, which is great. My process was a little bit different, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later in this video, but you can apply online. And this is, oh, and then the application fee is $50, okay? But this is really, really important, and I just want to highlight this. And it's going to be different for each state, but you have to submit your application within 1 year of passing the exam, or you're going to need to retake it. Now, unless you really, really like taking tests, taking tests and exams, I would advise you to be sure to research the time frame for whatever state you're applying through to make sure that you are submitting that application within that time frame that they're stating. And in Texas, it states 1 year is the deadline that you need to submit the application. So that's pretty much it. If you have questions that are not listed on the state's website, typically there's going to be an email address that's listed for you to, an email address or a phone number. And see, I just scrolled down a little bit. You can see here, Texas lists both their email address and their phone number for you to get questions answered. So it's a really straightforward process.
Now, getting back to my process. Although my home state license is with Texas, I didn't actually follow the exact process listed on the state's website that we just covered. What I chose to do was take a pre-licensing course that included a course exam in a classroom setting with an approved education provider that was certified by the Texas Department of Insurance. Now, I do want to quickly mention that not all states offer this option, so you're going to want to check with the state that you're applying through to see if they offer this option for you, okay? But for me, what this did was provide me an exemption from having to take the state exam. And because I was new to the industry and I had no idea what an adjuster was, like I've said so many times before, I needed that type of in person instruction versus studying on my own. And not only was I able to get my questions immediately answered by the instructor, but also I was able to gain valuable information from others who were already familiar with that industry. So we actually took the test on the third day of class, and thank you, Lord, I ended up passing. And I know that it was probably mainly due to memorization because, once again, not having a clue about the industry, it's a lot to learn. So I'm thankful that I did pass on that third day. And at that time, I was provided with instructions on how to apply for my license. I took the licensing class in February 2018, and I actually received the license approval notification in March of 2018. So it took a month before I was notified, but I believe that that was because the instructor advised us to mail in our applications, which I'm not sure why, because obviously when I took you to the website, it showed that you could apply online. So I'm not sure why we were told to mail it in, but that's what took place. And I actually recently just spoke with someone from the Texas Department of Insurance, and she stated that it's now only taking 5 to 7 business days for people to be notified of their approval. So I would advise to apply online if you have that ability to do so. Okay. Um, but earlier in the walkthrough, you saw there was a wealth of information on the website to assist you. That FAQ page is definitely going to help you, help answer any questions that you have on the application process. And like I stated before, you should have that information on any state website that you go to for their Department of Insurance. Now, some other important things that I want to highlight in this video is that most states require you to obtain an insurance adjuster license and others do not. Now, while the exact the exact steps are going to vary, here's what most of the states are going to have in common when you're applying for your license. You have to be at least 18 years old, have at least a high school diploma or equivalent, and then obviously you're going to need to pass the exam. Some states are going to require that you have that background check and fingerprinting, not all, but some. And you're going to need to pay the application and licensing fees. Now, as I previously mentioned, most states require you to have an adjuster license, but there are 16 states and one district that does not. I'm going to go through this long list, but please understand I will also put the list in the description box below, so you can certainly check that out and revisit that because I'm going to go fast. So the states and the district that don't require you to have a license to adjust claims are Colorado, the District of Columbia, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Maryland, Massachusetts, Missouri, Nebraska, New Jersey, North Dakota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Tennessee, Virginia, and finally, Wisconsin. Now, if you live in a state that does not require you to have an insurance adjuster license, you can legally adjust claims within that state. However, if you plan to handle claims for multiple states, a license is still extremely essential for you to have. So even though you live in a state that doesn't require you to have a license, if you plan to grow in this field and you want to handle multiple claims, you want to make sure that you get a license, okay? Now I'm going to dive deeper into this topic in future videos, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And if you want more detailed information about how to become an independent adjuster, get those assignments and get paid, visit my website at www.AdjusterlYfe.com and get my easy to follow resource guide today. You can also get a free adjuster career checklist on the site as well. And please comment to let me know what other videos you'd like to see on this channel. Finally, embrace the lessons, celebrate your victories, and persevere through difficulties. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.